This first message is for Steven Spielberg and Steven Spielberg only. Steven, my friend, I hope I can call you Steve. The people are mad at you. Yeah, they mad. They thought this was going to be the typical crash landing, chase me around my house, and then zap me up into the spaceship alien movie. And it was none of that. Now, the people do include me. I did go in thinking it was going to be that, and it I didn't get that. So you did throw us for a loop there. Now I'm not mad at you. I'm stick beside you. But I was definitely expecting something else. Disclosure Day is around the question of, do we the public deserve or have the right to know about the existence of aliens, and can we handle it? And to be honest with you, I think that's a valid question. This movie takes us on a journey of the two opposing sides. A group of people who feels like we should know, and then a group of people who feels like we can't handle it. Now, this movie does have a religious, spiritual undertone. So, if that's not your thing, I don't know that this movie would be for you. So, let's go ahead and get into the movie. Here's your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it, pause here, go and see it, then come back and we can talk about it. The movie opens up introducing us to Daniel. Daniel is a former employee of Wardex. Now, Wardex is a company that's trying to keep the proof of alien existence under wraps. Daniel has stolen video footage of aliens as well as this artifact. Now, let's talk about this artifact. This artifact can do a bunch of things. It can teleport you, camouflage you, just a whole bunch of stuff. And there's more than one, but he has one of them. They don't want him to have it. So essentially, he's on the run, and he's on the run with his boo, Jane. Now, Jane is a former nun who has left the convent, but she still has her faith. It seems like Daniel and Jane's relationship is pretty new because she asks him, why are we running? And what is it that you do for a living? And so, in order for her to understand what's going on, he shows her a little bit of the footage, and it makes her really, really upset. And it makes her upset because it challenges her faith. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Jane's initial reaction is she doesn't think the public is ready to know about alien existence, which is pretty interesting. So Daniel and Jane's journey through majority of the movie is being chased by Wardex. Meanwhile, in another state, we have Margaret. Margaret is a newcaster who has what the religious or spiritual people would call gifted. She's able to speak in multiple languages. She has spiritual intuition, psychic abilities, and she doesn't know why she has these gifts. They just come upon her one day after she has an encounter with a cardinal. One day, while live on air, she starts speaking in these clicking noises that nobody can understand. Now, that videotape of her is sent to Daniel. And it is at that moment that, unbeknownst to us and Daniel, it is revealed that he also possesses a gift because he's the only one that can understand her. Due to Margaret's spiritual intuition, she realizes that she needs to get to Daniel. So they eventually meet up, and she's able to rescue him from Wardex because at this point they've captured him. And they meet up with Hugo, played by Coleman Domingo, who has been helping them this entire time. Now, Hugo helps them unblock some childhood memories. And within those memories, Margaret and Daniel realized that when they were children, they were taken by aliens and actually given these gifts, which I'm assuming they were given the gifts to help the communication between aliens and the human race. So once their memories are recovered, Daniel and Margaret decide that the public does need to know this truth. They decide to go to the news station. Daniel uploads all of the footage that he has and they broadcast it for the world to see. As the tapes are playing, Hugo wheels in this elderly alien into the news station, and the alien whispers something in Daniel's ear because remember, he's the translator now. And he translates it for Margaret, and Margaret steps in front of the camera and she says, "Listen," and then the camera goes blank, and that's the end of the movie. Okay, so what was the point, right? What was the point of the movie? So I think the movie had a couple of different points. I think the first point was for us to work together instead of against each other. When the movie opens up, the world is on the brink of war, and I think the aliens are trying to get the human race to stop fighting each other. And I think that was the message at the end of the movie when the alien was just like, "Listen," I think. So I think that's the first message. I think the second point was, and this was a line said in the movie, was don't be afraid of what you don't know. And I think in general, not just about aliens, but sometimes I think when it comes to the unknown, we either get scared or turn away from things that we're unfamiliar with. And so I think that was part of the message. Now, what works for this movie? One of my favorite scenes of the movie was the conversation between Jane and the nun that she was closest to at the convent. There was a scene where she called the nun. She's asking the nun, "How is this possible, the existence of aliens, with what God has told us in the Bible?" And I love the nun's response. And her response was, "How could God make this vast universe and only leave it for us?" I just love that response because I think it challenges everybody to just open their mind up. Another scene that I really like, going back to Jane again, was, now don't come for me when I say this. Do not come for me. But the scene where Jane sees the alien footage for the first time and she is upset about it. And in the beginning, she was like, "Nah, I don't think the public should see this." Her reasoning, I agree with it. She said that she thinks that if the public knows that aliens was real with this proof, that they would stop worshiping God and start worshiping aliens. While that may not be truth for everybody, I do think that could potentially happen for some people. And I'm gonna just leave that right there. I'm not gonna say any more about that. But I do kind of think she's right about that in some aspect. And I'll just leave that there. But I just like that this movie touched on that a little bit, and because I think it will start the conversation and make people think a little deeper on that. Also, what I think works for the movie is the question, should we know and are we ready? I had to ask myself that. Am I interested in knowing if aliens are really real? I already think they're real. So do I want the proof? I'm a little nosy. So yeah, okay. But am I ready for it though? Probably not. I don't think I could handle an alien standing in front of me right now making clicking noises trying to communicate with me. I don't think I can handle that. No, get out of my living room. I don't think I'm ready for that. And that's the honest truth. And I think the average human probably is not ready for that because it's like, okay, once we see the proof that they're real, then what? Then what we doing? I just don't think people think past knowing that it's real. But the question is, okay, what's next? I think the acting was decent. One of my favorite characters in the movie was this guy right here. And I usually don't go for this type of character in movies, but when I tell you he was pissed that Daniel and Jane kept getting away, he was not playing. He had me cracking up in the movie. But other than that, I think everybody's acting was pretty on point. Emily Blunt, Coleman Domingo, everybody did their thing. I give them their props for that. Now, my critiques for the film, I can get with the explanation that aliens appear as animals to us so they don't scare us. Okay. But the way the animals looked in the movie, it was given Disney. And I guess it was CGI. I don't care what it was. It was given Disney. And I didn't care for that. Also, and this one is small. This one is small, I admit. At the end of the movie, the newscaster is trying to explain to the public what's being seen on the footage with the aliens. And she's crying while she says it. And I don't know, something about that just didn't land right for me because I'm like, why is she crying? It just didn't make sense. I guess I'm just like, as a news anchor, you have probably had to describe to the public some of the most catastrophic events. And I just didn't understand why she was crying. I don't know. And I don't think I'm an insensitive person. I'm the most sensitive person you'll ever meet. I'm a Cancer. Shout out to my other Cancers. Our season is coming. But I don't know. Something about her crying just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't get that. Now, as far as people being mad at my friend Steve, here's what I think about that. The past year, maybe even two, has been battle of the directors, right? I've talked about that in previous videos, how these new directors are doing really well. I feel like in 2025, a lot of tenured directors did well, right? And then you have Steven stepping up to the plate with the release of this film. Now, do I think this was Steven Spielberg's best work? Absolutely not. But when I thought about it, we all know that Steven Spielberg is one of the greats. There's no debate about that. But when I thought about it, it's like Steven doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. He's about to be 80 years old, and he may not say this, so I'm going to say it for him. Check his resume. I think he's at a part of his career where he's not making films to make money or to make his mark in the film industry. He's already done that. He's already done that. So this could be purely for fun, purely to get a message across. I don't think this movie was anything that he's losing sleep over. I really, really don't. I don't think he is really caring if people are mad at him or not. I I just really don't think he cares. So for anybody's asking like, is this the end of Steven Spielberg? Has he lost his talent? I don't think there's anything to lose because he's already had it. Like he's done what he's needed to do in the industry, and that's just what it is. My overall grade for this movie, I struggle between a B minus and a C plus. I really could have used a little bit more alien in it, I'll be honest. But I do appreciate the conversation around, are we truly ready for this type of information? And I really, really appreciated the conversation around, how does aliens fit into the conversation of religion? So I think I'm going to go with the B minus on this. I think it was pretty brave of Steven Spielberg to talk about these things. So that'll be my final grade, a B minus. But as I always say, don't take my word for it. Go see it for yourself. But I do have a question for you. My question to you is, do you want to know? Do you want the proof if aliens are real? Do you want to see the footage? And would you be ready to meet an alien? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see y'all in the next one.